Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Motivational Monday on Justin the Food Entrepreneurs podcast. I am Justin Bizzarro. I'm your host, and welcome to another Motivational Monday and episode number 27. And actually, episode 27 was supposed to be a Formula One episode, as we said last week, and I've already recorded with J.R. Tao of the Goat Beef Jerky Company, but I've decided, because it's a 2-hour epic episode that I was going to divide in two, that we're going to keep it as one and release it next week. It's a big one. It's a very deep conversation, a lot of good facts, but it's a very big one. And after talking to Deborah last minute, we decided, I should say, that we should dedicate a Motivational Monday to the Flavor of Georgia contestants, since we just judged the Flavor of Georgia contest last week. And I think it's important that we do something for them. They work hard. They do their jobs every day trying to make their businesses work, and I think they deserve a shout out. So I'm going to dedicate this to all the Flavor of Georgia contestants, and I'm going to speak each one of them in name during the episode, and I'm going to sort of talk about their perseverance, how inspiring they are to me, and where it comes from. And the person I'm going to use and the quote I'm going to use is from Pele, probably the most known soccer player in the world, although maybe everyone knows Cristiano Ronaldo now and Lionel Messi, but Pele was the man that changed the game. He changed the way soccer was done by really embracing the Brazilian style of soccer, and he won 3 out of the 4 World Cups he participated in. And for those of you who don't know, the World Cup only happens every 4 years, so that's a 16-year time span that he participated in, basically. And he won 3 out of 4. You know, he won 2, lost 1, and then won another one. And the one he lost was the 1966 World Cup, and England won that. So the famous one win by England was in 1966, and that's the year that Pele did not win the World Cup. So I want to talk about all of that. I want to talk about the inspiration, and just so everyone knows, here's my perseverance. I'm literally recording this episode at 11:20 p.m. Mountain Time in Colorado. Tomorrow's Monday, but I feel like I needed to pivot. I feel like the right thing to do was, give mad call-outs and mad props to all the people that participate in Flavor of Georgia, especially over the last 4 years that I've been a contestant. We're going to concentrate on the 2019 year, but there's lots of Flavor of Georgia food entrepreneurs, beverage entrepreneurs, nutrition entrepreneurs that have already been on the podcast or have already recorded episodes with us. So I want to give them a shout out also. Thank you guys for participating. I also, all of the people that are at the Flavor of Georgia contest 2019, one of the things we do for them is we invite all of them to be on the podcast and have their own episode, because it is something we believe in. It is something we want to encourage, and I believe they have a lot to share with the world. That's not us giving Georgia favoritism. That's just us saying, hey, Georgia's doing a good thing. Maybe the rest of the states could do something like this Flavor of Georgia. Maybe they could do something like educate the people in their states to be better food and beverage and nutrition entrepreneurs like the state of Georgia does. But guys, guess what? The state of Georgia is an agricultural state, and they are kicking some ass right now when it comes to food and beverage. I am telling you, you better watch out. Georgia Grown is going to be on every shelf in the world and in America, because these people are creative. They're getting better and better, and these entrepreneurs are some serious people to mess with. They are really an inspiration. And that being said, I am meeting food entrepreneurs and beverage entrepreneurs all over the place to be on this podcast from all different states that are really starting to get it. And that is the food revolution we're looking at. Local products, locally grown. People want their own specific products that are true to them these days. I don't need to go to the same place and have everything. Not one brand is true for every person anymore. Social media, individualism, as a society, there's plenty of room, and people want their own stuff. They want their own brand of beer. They want their own brands of liquor. They want their own brands of coffee. They want their own brands of food and snacks and beverages that is true to them. They don't just need to settle for what everyone else settles for. They get to pick, and I get to create my whole custom food based on all these food entrepreneurs that are out there, all these beverage entrepreneurs that are out there. I get to choose the drinks I want. There's so many coming out that are so cool. So we really need to keep an eye out. And if those of you who are just finally listening in, here's what happens. Here's what this podcast is. It is free. We will never advertise. We turn down sponsorship. We turn down advertisement. We don't do that. Here's why. Because I want everyone to have a free resource to learn from, and there's no one better to learn it from than the actual people that are living it. Not someone who's not living it that's teaching it. Someone out there, all these entrepreneurs that are willing to share their stories for free so they can share it with everyone. Obviously, they're promoting themselves, but obviously they're also doing it because they believe in helping everyone around them, because they are here to help all of us grow, and there's no better way to learn it than from the people themselves in their own words. They're the ones living it every day. And guess what? By the time someone writes it in a textbook, it's 2 to 3 years old, and the way things are moving with technology and everything like that, it's expired. So we need to listen to them. I'm trying to do it in real time as fast as possible. We've recorded a lot of episodes. I have so many episodes recorded. People are been great. I thank all the people that have been on here. Every entrepreneur that's been on here has been an amazing and shared something special. We are learning so much from these people, particularly Deborah and I hope the other entrepreneurs that are listening in, or managers or employees, are learning from it too, because there's so much here that we need to say. So if you really like what you're doing and you want to help, one, if you're a food and beverage entrepreneur, email us, contact us, direct message us, come be on the podcast, share your story. Number two, tell other people about what you're doing. Tell other people about what we're doing. Spread the word. We are on the point of a revolution, not only food, beverage, and nutrition, but we're on a revolution to make the world a better place. There's no reason, like we said in the last podcast, that we can't be, or that we can't teach our kids to be the greatest generation of all time as the world. We talked about how the greatest generation of all time in the United States is getting older and passing away. It's time. It's time for us to create the greatest generation of all time around the world, and we can do it through being food, beverage, and nutrition entrepreneurs, because we get to be leaders in every one of our communities. We get to be leaders in everywhere we go, and we get to live by principles and things, and we get to share it with the world through things like social media and things like this podcast, that we can go out there and tell people what we're doing and do it the right way. Because guess what? Caring and love and all of those things, they aren't bad words. These are things that should be embraced. We are human beings. We need to love each other. We need to inspire each other. We need to encourage each other. And guess what? Competition is good. Competition is good because it forces me to be better. I don't need to focus on the competition, but I do need to know it's there, so it pushes me harder. And guess what? I'm going to help the competition if they want to help. And they want to ask me, you know why? Because whatever I give them, it's going to push them harder. And if they do better, I'm going to do better. There's a reason people like Pele excelled to be the best in the world. Why? Because he played with the best in the world that pushed him to be even better. There's a reason Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi and all these people became great players, because they play with the best. They play for the best teams, and they have their own teammates as competition fighting for starting positions, so they get pushed every day. So things like the Flavo Georgia competition, while everyone's friends and I think they should all help each other, it's also competition, and it helps push them to do better because everyone there wants to win. And so that's a little something going on, and no one knows this yet, but Deborah and I are playing with the idea of giving awards for best episodes, best food entrepreneur episodes, top 10, downloads and streams. Same with beverage, same with nutrition. Come on the episode. See how you can share your episode. How many people like what you're going to do on here? That's not pressure. I want you to share your story, but you can promote it. I want you to promote your stories. Those are going to be on here because we got a lot of Flavor Georgia people on here and a lot of food and beverage entrepreneurs and nutrition entrepreneurs. Promote your story. Guess what? Why? Because it helps you. Why? Because we live in an age where storytelling is a huge part of marketing. And I don't care what you say, people become emotionally attached to the stories. And so we want to tell people's stories. So come tell your stories, come be on the podcast, tell other people about other people's stories. Guess why? Because if you ever want to be on the podcast, the more people you tell to listen to the other episodes, the more people that'll listen to your episodes. And we're trying to help people. This is a thing we're trying to do. If all of us do this, we're building food and beverage and nutrition awesomeness, for lack of a better term, something that's never been done before. We can do it all over the world, and we can lead through it. We can lead through business, we can lead through free markets, and we can lead for better business and better principles and better ethics and all of that, and pass it down to our kids and teach our kids what it's like to be an entrepreneur. There's no lessons, like I said, like being like hard knocks, like being in business, because life teaches you it. You're in charge. Like, guess what? You live and die by your decisions, and your failures, you learn from them so you don't do them again, because you have to. There's no other place on earth. So I get an F in school. Whoop-de-doo. I just move on to the next class. Yes, I failed. Hopefully I graduate and learn my lesson. But really in business, it's lessons learned every day, pivoting, adjusting every day, and being persevering through them all. So I'm way off topic, but I do want to get to the quote, and I do want all of you to know that everyone that's been on here, they are giving up their time. So share what they're doing again, please. They're great people. They love what they're doing, and they are inspiring individuals. They inspire me. So here's the quote. I'm going to repeat it twice. And again, it's by Pele. He played for the Brazilian national soccer team. He's the man, and you should watch. There's a movie out there. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I will put it in the episode notes. Find it, watch it, you will see what he went through to live his dreams. And so that's what every food, beverage, and nutrition entrepreneur is doing on this podcast. They are living their dreams. So here's the quote. Quote, "Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing or learning to do." End quote. I'm going to repeat it again. Quote, "Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing or learning to do," end quote. So here's how I feel about this, is that everyone, and I'm going to use the Flavor of Georgia as a model, but please know that it applies to every food and beverage entrepreneur, at least that's been on this podcast that I've talked to, and everyone who's recorded a podcast so far with us that will be released. There's something everyone has in common. They are willing to learn. They are willing to grow. They are willing to listen to people. They're willing to admit they don't know everything. They're willing to admit when they make mistakes. And they are willing to grow no matter what. And they know that they will never have a perfect company, but they can always progress forward. They can always fall forward, as the Denzel Washington quote we used in another Motivational Monday. There are things that they can do to keep growing and putting themselves in the competition, being competitive with one another. That's pushing themselves. So let me explain the Flavor of Georgia a little bit for everyone that doesn't know. Thank you to everyone who runs it. Phenomenal job. But there's 11 categories, and those 11 categories are these: barbecue sauces, beverages, condiments and salsas, confections, dairy products, honey and related products, jams and jellies, meat and seafood, miscellaneous, sauces and seasonings, and snack foods. And so there's 11 categories by which they are judged. That's 33 finalists out of all the contestants that come forward. And I will do another episode, not the next one, but one down the road, where I mention every contestant that entered the Flavor of Georgia. Some of them you know because they've been on the podcast. And I will also go back the last 4 years and mention everyone who's entered the contest the last 4 years and everyone who's been a finalist over the next few weeks on the Motivational Mondays, because I think it's important. And I want to do it because I want other states to do it. I want someone to take charge in Oklahoma, where the goat beef jerky's from, and do this. I want to take someone to take charge where Nash and Proper's from, and do it in there so they can enter their, hot chicken sandwich, Nashville hot chicken sandwich, and put it in a contest and see what happens. These are good things. Competition is good. Breed it. Food, beverage, and nutrition. We all have to eat. We all have to drink, and we all need nutrition as human beings. There's no reason it shouldn't be the new revolution that's going on here to lead us to a healthier, better life and inspire the next generation. So that being said, I am going to put in the episode notes. I'm going to put it on all the social media about this episode. I'm going to list every finalist in it. I want to name them, but I think it'll take too long. And I know I've got to reserve your time for the 2-hour podcast. So I'm sort of pivoting in the middle of this podcast. I want to mention them all, but I'm going to mention them through the notes because I don't want this one to go on too long. I want everyone to be inspired, but I want to also really talk about what I've seen. I've seen these entrepreneurs enter this contest over and over again. I've seen some lose. I've seen some win, come back, and then lose. And I've seen some do really well one year and then not even get into the final rounds the next year with entering their products. But I encourage them not to give up. They inspire us. They're amazing, amazing individuals. They're amazing partnerships with husband and wife and family members. They run great farms. They run great products. They work with great co-packers. They are doing something that all of us can be inspired by. They are all taking risks to put their products out there and be judged for it. Not only to see if it sells, but to see what other people truly think about it and be vulnerable. And as a judge, we give our honest opinions. At least I do. And I think all the judges do. I think it's really hard knocks, and it's hard, and it's lessons learned. And I hope everyone that didn't win gets inspiration from it and keeps moving forward. Because that's the important thing. We're going to fall. We're going to hit our face. We're going to get knocked by life. But it's how we get back up. And it's how we learn from it. And it's how we help each other learn from it. So the Flavor of Georgia contest, all of the contestants, again, I want to give them a shout out. And I'm going to do it in the notes. And I'm going to do it in the social media blasts. But it's important that we all learn from them. And it's important that we take from them exactly this. Is that we should never give up. There's always opportunity out there for our products when we believe in them. There's somewhere we can go to put them out there to be judged and find it. You know, there's all these entrepreneurs on this podcast that do different things. They're giving up their time to be on the podcast. They're learning from one another. They're learning from us. We're learning from them. It's really, really important that we help them out. And it's just the most inspiring thing I've ever seen. You know, the people that are coming on this podcast, I had no idea when I started it how many people would come forward and just be inspired by what we're doing, but also how inspired Deborah and I are by what they're doing. And I don't know, I can't even speak when it comes to it. It gets me a little choked up, is that it's such a beautiful thing. And I know we're helping small businesses in the food world, but they're helping us and teaching us things. And every day, you never know. And I truly believe that knowledge and wisdom is passed through other people if we're willing to listen and we're willing to learn. We just have to be willing to hear it. And sometimes in life, things happen, not what we want, but what we need. And life gives us, and in my case, I believe in God. God gives me what I need, not always what I want. And so what I need, is to learn. And if I want the things I want, the first thing I need to do is have some hard knocks so I can learn how to get there. And all these entrepreneurs, years after years, that are on this podcast, they continue to have hard knocks. Years after years of working their business. It hasn't been years after years of the podcast, but it's been years after years that they've been working, and I've been seeing on the Flavor Georgia. And a lot of the people that have come on the podcast, they've been in business for a long time. It's not a short amount of time. Whether it's the food trucks or the bakeries or the nutrition entrepreneurs, most of them have been in business a few years, and they are learning as they go. And success doesn't come easy. It doesn't come easy at all. And so everyone out there, I dedicate this to you, Flavor Georgia, because I want to give you guys a shout out because you inspire me, you motivate me. So it motivates me today. Pele motivated me when I played soccer. You guys motivate me by getting up there, taking a risk and doing it. And I see how much pride you guys take in your products. I see how awesome you are. I see where you are, and I know you guys are going to be successful because you have the drive and the perseverance to even get to where you are. That is every person in the Flavor of Georgia that I've seen, and that is everyone that has been on this podcast. I believe that all of you are going to be successful simply because you're willing to take the risk to put your stuff out there, have people hear you, be vulnerable, you're being authentic, your products rock, you rock. You guys are awesome. Fuck yeah. Keep doing what you're doing and keep rocking on, because I believe in all of you and I believe in what you're doing and you inspire me, and I will keep doing this podcast as long as you guys want me to. Seriously, because I couldn't have ever dreamed that the response that I'm getting, that Deborah's getting from you guys, because you guys are really teaching each other. You're really just so inspirational. And Deborah and I did this to try to share and inspire people and motivate people through what our experiences were. But it's really been about all the food, beverage, and nutrition entrepreneurs that have been on here. You guys are inspiring everyone. You guys are doing something for this world and for humanity. You're inspiring people. You're giving people hope. You're teaching them a better way of life. You're teaching them business. You're going into communities. You're developing them economically. You're bringing money back into your communities, and it is awesome. And we are starting to see this, and it is amazing, and I'm so glad to be a part of it. So thank you guys. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Please, again, share it. We don't take sponsorship. We don't take advertisements. We're doing this for free. The entrepreneurs are on here for free. Spread the love. Pass it on. Please share it on social media. Share it with your friends. Tell people about what they're doing. And keep reminding them, because they need to hear it. What people are doing on here is the real deal. We have a chance to learn from real people. People are sharing their real stories, and these are good people. So these are good people willing to share themselves. So share it. I'm Justin Bizzarro. This is Justin the Food Entrepreneurs Podcast. And I can't wait to tell all of your stories. I can't wait to be inspired by all of you. And I can't wait to hear everyone's reaction to the new podcast. Thank you all, and have a great Monday. Rock on.